where we take you from real-world challenges to practical solutions.
From mindset and manifestation to culture, community, and building better systems born. This isn't just talk.
Let's get into it.
All right, we're ready.
I just did it.
Welcome to A to Z with Ali and Zilla, where we take you from real-world challenges to practical solutions.
Can you hear it?
From mindset and manifestation to culture, community,
we're live.
and building better systems born. This isn't just talk.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
All right, we are live. We are live. Welcome back to another A to Z. This is Rod Stanley with my good friend Younger Ali. What happens when two brothers just get on? We start talking, saying what's on our minds. You get this show, A to Z. So welcome. Thanks for being a guest. If you're out there, we'd love to hear your views too. Ali, what's going on, man?
Man, we're just loving life right now, man. Everything's going good. Nice sunny here over here in Vegas. Yeah, man. Just waiting for this conversation, man. See what we can open up, see where we can learn. What I can learn from you and everybody else.
Yeah, bro.
Let me see.
Yeah, man. What's going on in your world, man? It's a lot going on in the world as always. Uh,
Well,
what's new?
well, right now, man, the only thing I know that's going on is BTS was here in Las Vegas, and there was a lot of red and people participating in there. So it was pretty nice. I know their crowd compared to um a bunch of other crowds, the older crowd, because this crowd was very mixed. There was kids, what I would consider a child like 17 on up to like 80. You know how you remember that old saying, 8 to 80, dumb, cripple, blind, cripple, and crazy.
Blind, triple, and crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's their fans, man, and everything was so polite. I didn't see any fights down here, which was pretty awesome for a crowd as big as it was. Man, it brought 30% more 30% more financial gains to Chinatown. That's just Chinatown. And Chinatown is off of the strip. So
They're performing in Chinatown? Like where's there is there a venue in Chinatown? I don't remember the
you said a
being
venue?
one there. Yeah, there's a venue in
No, 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 no.
Chinatown.
They was at Allegiant. They was at
Oh, okay.
Allegiant, but
Got
a
it.
lot of their patrons went to Chinatown. They had a lot of pop-ups and everything. So it was busy down there. It was really, really busy.
And that's nice
So
because wasn't Chinatown kind of seemed like it was on his last leg before I left Vegas.
yeah,
It
well,
was it
it was really lively. Chinatown is actually, it's kind of busy. They're cleaning it up and making it more modern, but
okay.
it's still thriving and thumping.
Oh,
It's
nice, man.
a good place to go and feel safe, which is weird, but you know, but it was a nice place. It's a nice place. What's going on in
Cool,
your
man.
area?
Man, in my little small town, nothing really, bro. We talk all the time. Like, what are we gonna do for fun around here? We actually talked about we spend a lot of time up in Portland on the weekends.
Yeah.
It's just more things going up there, more entertainment, better restaurants, things like that. But what did we do yesterday? Just kind of drove around, did a little shopping. Nothing going on, nothing major. Uh, yeah, so Salem is it's surprising. Like it's the capital of the state, but it's not the best city in terms of entertainment and tourism and things like that. Most of that happens up in Portland.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of in between a city and a country town because just around the outskirts there's farms and all types of stuff like that. And then downtown, when I was involved with the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of times some of the business owners who wanted to put up, neon signs and things like that that would light up the town, which is all over the place in Vegas. They kind of shut it down. They didn't want that type of thing going on. They want to keep it more historic.
Oh wow.
So it's kind of yeah. So it's kind of old school in that way. Um, but it is the capital of the state, uh, that which is surprising to me. So just to kind of, not a not a booming area, but they are renovating and businesses are turning over and things like that. But there's ordinances on how tall buildings can be. So no big buildings in the city.
Yeah, it's almost similar to how we are here in Vegas. You know, the tallest structure we have is the Strat, so they don't want to go too much higher than that because it's right next to the airport. But the Hard Rock Hotel looks like it's going to be the same size as the Strat, you know. So we'll see in a moment. We'll see in a moment because they're still building. They might have to chop the guitar down a little bit because it's going straight up, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. And one of the things I have noticed is there's a lot of emotions going on. I mean, and maybe it's just because of all of the social media trends that is coming out. You know, they're talking about the war, talking about Donald Trump, talking about Ku Klux Klan, talking about um, just, you know, the pedophiles. There's a lot of emotions that are going on. And I'm hearing people, they're walking around and I don't see a lot of positivity. I see some people trying to fake it. You know, I see that people trying to strive and just, hey, let's just keep on going. Let's keep on going. Let's make, you know, get past this storm that we're going through here. Um, but I
Yeah,
see, you see that? You see it out there too, a little bit?
yeah. I kind of you can kind of hear the remnants of it because like you said, there's so much going on, so it kind of can keep the mind in this state of confusion on which way to go. Should I do this? Should I do that? But that can create this kind of paralysis in that you don't know what steps to take. So you kind of just try to tune out to it. And I hear people kind of getting, I guess, kind of numb to so much of the noise. It's like, man, I don't even want to deal with it anymore, which is a whole nother energy too, just because there's so much going on. You don't know which way to turn, what you can believe, uh, how to get out of it, what is the strategy I should be doing. So yeah, it's a lot of like confusion in a sense of what to do with all these emotions and all these different things that are going on around us.
Yeah, you know
So
me, man. When I go out, I talk to people. I
yeah,
see people's face. I saw, or they're smiling, or I'll say, "What's up? How you doing?" You know, sometimes people stop and have a conversation, or they'll say something that'll spark my interest, like, "Ooh, this person really needs to talk." You walk past them, I'm like, "How you doing, man?" It don't freaking matter. I'm like, "Whoa, hey, what's up with you? What's going on?" I'll stop and talk to those people. I'll talk to the people that are like super happy, like, "Oh my gosh, this is." I'm like, "Really, what's going on in your life?" You know.
yeah.
There's been a couple times that I sat around, had dinner, and talked to some people, and I'm listening to them talk about other people's traumas. And now, mind you, everybody does this to some extent because I've done it. I've done it, but I had to sit down and pay attention to what I was doing. And what I'm talking about is, you know, when people give you a trauma dump, because I've
Yeah.
dumped on people, and was like in my own head was like, dude, you ain't been through nothing. That ain't nothing. You can beat this, and or like, why is this person whining like this? I was in the this guy was talking about a program that he was dealing with, and he everybody has legit trauma, but he has some legit trauma. And uh people try to level their traumas. This trauma
Like
is,
I went through more than you. Like you didn't go through that type of thing.
yeah, exactly that. Now, I don't see leveling traumas as anything wrong when it's inside of you, when it's inside of the individual. It's okay to say, well, this trauma was worse than that trauma. This trauma is worse than that trauma. This trauma is worse than that trauma. But I don't think it's valid. Is I really don't believe it's valid when you put your measuring scale, when a person puts their measuring scale on another person's trauma. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
here's
Yeah, I
an
know what you mean
example.
by that. Sure. Yeah, break it down more.
Yeah, here's an example. Like, and this is an extreme example because I just need to get the point out. So it's like when a person is talking to a little child and like, why are you crying? Why are you having this like little hissy fit? And he'd be like, the child would be like, because Brian stole my toy and he wouldn't let me play with it. And like, when did that happen? And this is after school. This is all after school or what's that, daycare. And
Yeah,
like you're like this happened at daycare. When we first got in, they let the teacher let me play with the toy, and then Brian came over and took it from me, and I tried to get it back, but he wouldn't give it back. I mean, and then they just start going crazy and just like feel like they're hating life now. And that is a legit trauma for that child. But then we are like, oh man, that's nothing. Hey, calm down. It'll be all right, blah, blah, blah. And then we think to ourselves, that trauma is nothing. Wait till you grow up. Wait till you got trauma when you miss a bill or something
yeah,
like
for
that.
sure. Yeah, I
And
mean,
we go
what
ahead.
is it? I was gonna say, man, that's an interesting point. I mean, and when we do that to children, that creates a real traumatic experience for the child too, when you minimize what they are going through, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for sure.
It, and it's the same thing. Like we have to know and understand that that child's trauma is actually equivalent to any trauma that we have, you know, because that might be the max amount of trauma that child has went through, you know, and his pain may not be the same physical pain as uh army dude, a military guy getting their legs blown off from an IED. That,
Yeah.
mind you, that is hell of a trauma, right? But that is that guy's probably max trauma. A max trauma is a max trauma no matter where it is. Now I could deal with somebody trying to take my toy, like right now, like give me back that toy, Brian. What the heck's wrong with you? Go over there and sit down. you know. So
Yeah.
it's just that we need to listen, and I'm to other people a little bit more, I believe. And really listen so we can figure out, oh, this is really bothering them. This is really something that has dug into their hearts, their emotions, that is causing them pain. Yeah, I could deal with that. I personally can deal with that pain and brush it off. But their pain of it is different. Their pain is at
Sure.
their max. And like dealing with a lot of people that have a lot of money. Some people didn't start from the bottom and make their way up. Some people, you know how they say, some people
Started from the bottom
household,
now here, like the Drake song, started from the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. Some people didn't start from that. Some people started from the top and it's just going higher. People with that silver spoon, that golden spoon in their mouth. So their trauma is different. Somebody's trauma could be like, I didn't get my parking spot today. And that be a real trauma to them, you know?
You,
So
you hitting on something real big, and like before, and I want to let you keep talking because it's an interesting topic. But one thing we have to realize is, why is it the same trauma for the child, the old person, the rich person? It's because on an individual level, when you experience that, your body kicks into fight or flight response and creates this hormonal cascade that raises your heart rate, causes stress, produces cortisol, and all the different things that go on physiologically that make that the same situation that's played out in a million different ways in the physical world. But internally, it's the same thing that's being produced, and it's the same type of response. So that's why it's equally the same. It just has to be played out on different and through different actions that look different.
yeah,
That's why we have to like not really judge, because internally they are going through the same similar response.
yes,
Go ahead. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And that's education that a lot of people don't know, that
Yeah.
exactly what you said, the internal chemical reactions are the same. Exactly.
Yes.
The fight or flight that's happening, and whether it turns to flight or, like you said, fight, is the same, is exactly the same. And people, we need to recognize that, especially when somebody is trying to open up and be vulnerable and tell you, whoa,
Sure.
excuse me, and tell us that they're needing some kind of relief, reprieve from that
Yeah.
emotion, that bondage that they're going through. And we, as a person who is listening, we do have that ability to cause it more damage or free it up
Sure.
for them, you
Yeah.
know. So no matter what, if we're thinking that, okay, this person's trauma is really not that big, it's not that, it's, oh my God, I don't believe you're so stressed about this is nothing. You know, um
Yeah.
take time to breathe yourself so you can listen to it. Now this works with your friends, you know, or your friend's friend, somebody that's not necessarily connected straight to you, you know,
Yeah.
because you know most of your friends' traumas and you can understand and you can empathize with them. But other people, you're like, why are they going through this? And it helps out with Karen's a little bit, just to like, hold on, Karen, or whatever the other Bobs or whatever. Hey, you're going crazy about me parking here. What's going on with your day? Hold on, I'm not moving, but explain to me what's going on so I can feel for you at the same time. You know, just give them an opportunity to verbalize it. Maybe not dump on you, but be open to hear at least. I got 15 seconds. Please go ahead, give it to me. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
feel you. You know, that would make the world, at least your community, your environment, your space, and a better space, because that gives, if everybody's doing that, that gives you, individual, you get what you put out. That gives you an
Sure.
opportunity to trauma dump on somebody else that your trauma means nothing to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and when you're listening, like if you try to take this approach, it's about listening and then not judging either. How's that saying go? Judge not, lest you be judged first. Just listening without having an immediate reaction. Because generally, if you say, man, they took my ball at the park the other day, if you're an 8 year old, you just immediately go into, oh, that's nothing, like with the judgment,
Yeah,
right? And that judgment really is about your own personal state and inability to listen with a real spiritual ear, with a real open heart, with a real empathy for that person and what they might be experiencing. So it takes that, the empathy, being open to someone else's experience being real
yeah,
without judging it. And man, that's high level stuff, Ali. To get
yeah.
if we could get a world like that.
And one of the things is also sometimes a person doesn't need feedback. Sometimes our feedback,
Yeah,
it's what, that is what causes the trauma, you know. But a good question, a good question. Oh, so that, what I'm getting from you is, is making you feel pain, is making you feel sad, anger or hate or whatever. So this caused that. What is it that you can do from here? I'm curious. You know, I haven't experienced that. What do you think you can do from here? Help them to solve their own problem. If you want to give them feedback, you know,
yeah,
unless it's direct feedback on how to, you know, like somebody has to deal with a crediting company, you know, and you actually have those skills, or to, this is how you deal with them, this situation. You know, I've been in this situation before. This is how you deal with that, you know. but still give them an opportunity, if you have the time, give them an opportunity to solve the problem on themselves by asking wonderful questions. You know,
Sure. Absolutely, man.
I
I've
go
heard it
ahead.
one time said, and I don't do a great job of it. I could certainly be better, especially after hearing you talk about it. Like you could ask that person, "Hey, do you want to be heard? Do you want to hug? Or do you want help finding a solution?"
Yeah,
Just asking those three things. You want me to just hear you out? Cool. You want me to hug you because you feel like you need to be hugged, or just help you find a solution to this problem? And that's a good way to kind of it gives them options, and also where you're not overstepping that boundary of just automatically trying to solve the problem and putting your 2 cents in where it's not needed. Um, so
yeah, and
I've heard that's a good strategy, man.
yeah. Also, and I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this, and you can use the word support because
Yeah,
some people don't want help. I don't need help because I'm not helpless, or
yes,
whatever. Like, like you exactly. I mean, what you said. Do you want some feedback, or do you want a hug? Do you need some support? How can
yeah,
I support you? Uh, you know, or whatever. You know, well, you
yeah,
can
for sure,
keep
man.
keep the ball in their court. That's basically what I'm saying. Keep the ball in their court so that they can build and fix their own problems if that's possible. If they don't ask for um your solve or my solve for the situation.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
think a lot of times it is solvable, right? Like if you think about the two examples you used a baby who's maybe crying because someone took his toy, or a young child, and then someone who's got their leg cut off. And those instances you said that might be the most trauma they've experienced. And there's a reason for us going through certain things. And I think a lot of times it's because we're equipped to handle the things that we go through. If we have someone maybe to hold our hand, talk it through, we are generally equipped to handle the things that happen to us. Uh, like this little child, he could probably handle that situation, which is why that was put on his plate. You just need some help, maybe a hug, some support to see how can I help myself in this situation. And sometimes it's just like you said, asking good questions. Maybe something comes up that they hadn't really thought about. You offer a different perspective versus an immediate solution, and they can sometimes walk themselves through it. I know, especially in my career path as a fitness trainer, a lot of times people know what they should be doing as far as exercise or eating well. It's just sometimes they need to hear the questions from someone else, hear a different perspective, and then they say, "Oh yeah, you're right. I should probably be walking more." And they can
Yeah.
kind of walk themselves through it. Yeah. So
Yes. Where we
yeah,
so
man.
now that we have that part of of our situations and being able to support people and listening, and actually that opens other people's heart because it builds the person up because we're like, I I feel supported and I know how to support people. I know how to support people. People are seeing me as an open person. They want to come to me. They want to trust in me. They want to put their energy into me, especially when they are feeling good because the gratitude that they give us is empowering. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
energy. It's a beautiful energy, and it changes our own personal aura, whether we see it or not. Other people see it. Other people see the glow in us when
Yeah.
we open up and be caring and be supportive to others. Helping other people uh, through their traumas, through their regular daily things. And it may not be trauma, it might be somebody running around super happy. And we're still the same way, like, you're happy
Yeah.
over that? Man, gosh, wow. You take joy out of the little things, and for them to be able to share that, it's like every time we do open up and share with somebody, it's like they come by and put a little badge of acceptance on us, and other people can see that badge, you
Yeah,
know.
no doubt. Building
So
those connections, huh?
yeah, building those
Yeah,
connections, putting in what's that energy into the bank. You know, we're
yeah,
banking that energy so that people can see it. We're not, and guess what? In order to give love, you got to give it away.
that's right, man.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's
to
right.
receive love, you got to give it away. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and another thing too, man, we talked about how this is something that's internal. It's their internal world, and even though it plays out as a someone taking a ball, they're still having this thing going on the inside. So when you ask those questions and allow someone to speak, it's a glimpse into their inner world
Yeah,
and what's really going on, and then they feel seen, which like man, they really get me, not like my actions, they get me, and it's that ability to see someone and empathize with them, which we all really want to be seen, right? To That's kind of a deep desire and need for a human being, is to be seen by others for who they really are. And when you can allow someone to see that, right, that you're vulnerable or something really hurt your feelings, and then you were heard, that connection is just so strong there because we all need that. So it's also that little glimpse into someone's world because you wouldn't know otherwise, how that really made them feel or what their experience was unless they share it. How how are you able to support the thought? Is that you putting that out in the chat?
yeah, that's me, man. That's me. But no worries about that. No worries
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah, man. And these traumas, man, sometimes, you know, so many of them go below the conscious level because they happen really early. Um, like something as simple as, someone takes your ball, your parents say, stop crying or don't do this when you're openly wanting to express this. So then you start to suppress your openness to express things. And it's a huge part of the development process when you're young to be able to express openly. And a lot of times that can um, hinder you from reaching your true purpose of why you're here because you don't really know what those subconscious traumas are until you do some self-discovery at some point to really uncover it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about, man. Some of these bigger, deeper questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And one of them we always ask is, what is my purpose here? Like, what am I even doing here with life?
Yeah,
Uh, I think that's a huge one. And I personally think it's self-discovery and
yeah, because
discovering how to fully express who you are on whatever level that may be. And there's a million ways to do that. Sometimes it's through work, through writing, through music, through dance, through gardening, and it's just being able to do that unapologetically, freely. And some of the things that we go through can keep us away from being able to do that. And if you think about it, becoming your best self and being fully on display, fully open, is probably one of the most vulnerable things that someone can do, which makes it a challenge to be fully
yeah,
authentic all the time, for a
yeah,
lot of us. And but when you see someone who is, you notice it right away because it's a certain amount of freedom and movement that they act with. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. But I got a question. When you're talking about people's purpose, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
their authenticity, how does that blend? Because some people are being authentic to their emotions and has nothing to do with their purpose.
Well, if you think about an emotion and it's your own personal emotion, that is being authentic in yourself because that is what your world is created from. The experiences that you have, the response that you have internally will shape how you respond. So if you are fully expressing what you from your true emotional state and feelings on the inside, you are being true to yourself and that is your authentic expression. What happens is sometimes you get told, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Don't be sad. Don't cry. Don't say this. And then you start to act out in a way that's not authentic.
Well, okay. Well, what do you mean? I mean, because the way I'm seeing this is
Yeah.
like there's been times to where I am out and I'm like, I hear some people say some things, whatever it is. I'm not getting into it because I'm not trying to get that emotion again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like I hear them say some things, and me grabbing onto that emotion is like, okay, I want to be authentic. Now I'm about to go bust this dude in his mouth, or that's that anger that if I want to be authentic with that, boom, I go do that, and then all of a sudden I'm in jail, or I just start disturbing the peace by arguing back, and then that's my authentic emotion, but that's not me being authentic to my purpose. There I or maybe I'm confusing things. If I'm confusing things,
No,
please expound on it because I'm trying to see because I'm not for sure authenticity um expands unless having control over my emotions is me being authentic. Because there's
well,
some like that I'm just thinking about acting what's that term they call now? Acting ghetto or being a Karen or whatever, you
yeah, yeah.
know. Um
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, man. And it made me think about it a little bit deeper too. So I appreciate that question. I would say it like this, man. I'm gonna go out in the weeds and bring it back.
okay.
We all have an energy, right? Or a sine wave or energy here. The highest form of expression in this realm that we're in is love. Okay. So this place, Earth, is also an anagram from heart for heart. And heart used for expression of love. So to conquer and be at the highest level is to express love here. So to do that, anger or punch someone in the mouth would not be the best expression of what the true purpose is here to get to that point where you can express love to its fullest. Sometimes it does mean punching someone in the face
Yeah, out
as
of
an
protection, maybe.
out of protection and things like that. But being able to control your emotions also is a part of um, self mastery. I would say
Mm.
it's self mastery. So once you've mastered self and then expressing from that point will allow you to then act accordingly in each situation. So sometimes it could be that, and sometimes it's not. But having the wisdom to know um, when one is needed.
Okay, I get it. I get that.
I would say it like that. But yeah, I mean that was a great question, man, to kind of go deeper on it.
So
Um,
when we're walking on the field of purpose, what's your grasp on that for
I
what
think
you're talking about, where you was
I think
going?
our purpose is to become the best version of ourselves and fully embody what it means to be part of the creator, which we all are part of here, and be the full expression of that. That's the highest purpose here.
Okay, so the highest purpose. Now, this is a question. This is something that I think is a little bit different. Now,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
go
not
for it, man.
I'm not on anybody's side on this. I'm just saying a person's
Okay.
higher purpose could clash with everybody else's higher purpose. Do you think that's possible?
When you say clash, what do you mean?
Okay, I'm meaning like, okay, I don't really want to point the fingers at anybody. Just say that there's a, like somebody says, "Oh my gosh, these people are destroying this thing," and I am a leader. So what I'm going to do is I'm going, I want my people and the rest of the people that are around to feel, let's see, happy, safe, whatever. So I'm going to ban, block, destroy, kill, whatever it is because of my love for my people. And the
Yeah.
other people are like, I need to develop and conquer these people for the love of my people because my people need more space. My people have better ideas. My people need to be fed and need to be wealthy. So both of these factions are acting in love, not towards not the two leaders. Maybe the two leaders have even tried to come in love with each other and it's like, hey, this is we're talking, we're having a conversation. This is what I see you're doing to us. This is what we don't want to happen. And the other people are like, well, yeah, I understand that, but my people need this. So this is what we
Yeah,
need for you to do. And they clash. So love
absolutely.
is crashing against love. You know what I mean? So
It Yeah, I totally get what you're saying about it, right? And that is the odd thing about being where we're at, because we're in a paradoxical universe here. There's It's full of paradoxes, and to understand that is to be wise, right? Because you can see what you just said, that you have someone who's loving one group of people and they're killing these other people. So the people who are on the other side of being killed are saying they must hate us. And you get what I mean? So you have these dual forces both acting out of love, but that's what makes the reality work, because you have to have duality, which creates these paradoxes that makes it all work. So the balanced person, or who's seeing it from a perspective of the creator, who's looking at this from a creator's perspective, is looking at, I need both of these sides to be this way, because it's the love that's going to fuel the it's that love that both sides have that's going to fuel the most intense actions to bring about this world, and have enough intention behind it to really fight for with a lot of energy behind this to keep their world alive. But that's what creates the balance, because they both have to exist. But if you're looking at it from one side or the other, you think, well, how could that exist? They have to. But that's why they say the truth is somewhere and always somewhere in the middle, because the creative perspective is, or the highest perspective is looking at how both of these worlds have to coincide together to create a reality. But so it does clash. And I don't think you could have it any other way.
so there's supposed to be uh turmoil and dissension and uh thievery and all this other stuff in the world of purpose and love, because I'm just thinking of not
What?
necessarily a Romeo and Juliet story, but more like a King Arthur and what's that other dude? Camelot, not Camelot,
Yeah.
but I forgot his name. I forgot the guy's name, but where it's like I love Guinevere and I don't like the way Arthur is treating her or whatever, so I'm going to go ahead and take her, from him so I can treat her better. you know, and the other person is Arthur is like, well, we're gonna send you over here to the worst battle ever because I'm not just gonna kill you in front of my people because that'll look bad. Which I'm talking about dissension, but they're both acting out of love. I believe I love this person, so I'm gonna have to destroy you in order so I can keep this person that's supposed to love me back,
Yeah,
and would love me if you wasn't around.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, love is always going to be there, and on some level, um, I mean, how what would be the purpose of doing great good things or positive things if there was no negative things to overcome?
Huh. Well, I,
In a dual world like we have here. I mean, that's what makes it, because it's the pressure that makes a diamond. It's the things that are challenging that make the soul strive for growth. And
yeah,
if
yeah.
it wasn't that, then it wouldn't really strive for growth or improvement or advancement or making the DNA stronger or making sure that light continues to shine over darkness. All those things have to be in place or you wouldn't be able to exist. You need the contrast.
Okay. I see what you're saying. So we do need all of this turmoil in order to solidify an individual's purpose here in this realm, right? You know,
Yeah,
because we wouldn't need a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, Genghis Khan, John F. Kennedy, or whoever if there wasn't turmoil, you
yeah.
know? And I guess love creates turmoil.
Well, it's kind of like this, man. You know how, let's say you have a child and you want them to teach them certain things, and you're going to be tough on that child in order to teach them certain lessons.
True.
And if this is a real world school, this is a real world universe, there's going to be tough things put on you to teach the lesson. And it's really no different from that. I mean, like sometimes being too easy on a person, they don't really learn certain lessons. So you have to create scenarios that play out to teach lessons. And we're doing this on an individual level as well as a collective level to learn lessons in order to evolve into a higher level of species.
So, Mike, so our evolution, do you feel, and this from what you're saying as far as purpose goes, our evolution is for the benefit of the collective that's here in this realm? And does it go anywhere for our own personal energies beyond this realm? Like in a sense of when we pass on, do we pass on and hit the dirt? Do we pass on and go to back to source and become something different? Or, it's like where does this knowledge benefit? Does it only benefit on this realm and in other people's lives in the future of this realm? Do you believe it benefits us after we done like, okay, here you go. Uh Malcolm X. He stride and struggled for what he put, what he was doing here. Or Muhammad Ali, he fought through all those things. Now he's passed on. Does all the stuff that he fought for, does it exist in a different realm? Does he take that, or is he just gone in the dirt? Because the reason why I'm asking this is for the I just to dig into your brain and to see how you think about it. If it doesn't benefit me to, past this world, what is the purpose? You know,
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. We have to think of it like you asked an important question. Do we go back to source? So you have to think of it like when you enter this world, source entered into this world and has become a fraction of what it is when it is in this physical body. Our body itself is a governor that receives energy from source all the time because source is all around us, but it's a governor in that it doesn't allow all of source to be in this body, right? So we can filter some information from source and we get glimpses of the all, And some people can tap into this. They call it the Akashic records, where everything is, where all of it is. But in an individual body, you only have so much bandwidth to receive it. And some people would say, some things you could read about would talk about the chakra system and then the nadis, which are another, I think it's 174 nadis, where this information gets kind of transduced into the body where it can absorb some of source energy. Now, what that is light. And we know light can be seen as information as well. So our DNA code is light and it stores information. And when you drop the body, your soul, which is light, becomes lighter, goes back to the source and it carries that experience with it. So, in a sense, the body, or what you do here is collecting experience and memories that goes back to source. So it becomes part of the collective intelligence, so to speak, that was lived out through an individual experience. But you are part of the overall collective once you leave here. So it is part of you, but not part of you. You get what I'm saying? So it is part of you when you leave, because when you go back to source, those memories go on. But if you come back into this world again, you put this veil on, which is why a lot of times we don't remember those past life experiences. That's part of the experience here, is to be in a dream and to forget. And we're in a dream, our skin being an anagram for the word derma, which is skin. When we enter into this skin or this derma, we understand that we don't have our full power, our full memories. Is to get to a place where we can start to gain some of that back and access some of it, but you don't have all of it until you go back to source. So to answer your question, it all is part of the collective. It's all a collective experience, but we're experiencing it as individuals. And when we return to source, you have access to all of it, and you can still have access to some of it here.
Okay, so basically, now you're saying source, and I'm just I have to go there. I know we only got a couple minutes left on this stream or podcast. But okay, when we go back to source, source is considered to be God for some. So when you're using source, and I use source just to keep you activated in that mindset, because I know yours, and I'm wanting to say God. So now here's the idea. In Christianity, everybody doesn't go back to source. Some people go to hell. Hell isn't part of source. And some people and beings or whatever, when they go to hell, they go to the lake of fire and never to be seen again. So how does that fit into, do you know, how does that fit into your idea of thinking? Because, like some parts of the Akasi record, some things that people are trying to put into knowledge has to be erased. Is
I
is
don't
that the thing?
I don't personally think there's a hell per se, like some would say is in the Bible. I actually read something the other day that said that going to heaven isn't actually written in the Bible like that. I have to verify that, but
Okay.
I don't personally think that that's a thing. I also feel like, or have come to know, that a lot of the things also in the Bible are analogies for something else. And when you look into things like Tai Chi, for example, they talk about the Dantian region in the body that is below this area that is seen where the energy is stored, and it's stored in the near the root chakra, which is represented by the color red, because when you're there, when your energy is focused there, which is survival mode, you're burning with the desires of fleshly desires, so to speak. You're not really focused on spiritual things because you're in this survival mode. So that can be analogy for being burning with those types of desires. Whereas when you're in the higher chakras, the heart it being the middle, and when you meet there, that's when the earthly chakra, so the things like sexuality, root chakra, creativity, all those things meet in the middle at the heart, and then the spiritual chakras, using your third eye, getting information from the Akashic records, those things, when those gifts and they meet in the middle, now you can be fully activated. And when you reach that point, that is a state of heaven where everything becomes balanced, or a state of evenness where you have an even viewpoint on how things really work in this reality. So that's kind of more how I will look at heaven and hell, whereas there's states of consciousness versus places that you actually go. Because where can you really go when everything is really here? All of the energy that is here is here. Science tells us that nothing, energy cannot be destroyed, nor energy can't be created. And it's not going to go here because this is a go anywhere because this system is the system. It has everything. It's all here. So there is no place to go. There's only the source that we can't really even talk about that. And I think a lot of scriptures say we can't describe the source per se. And I've heard it described as like being in a dream. When you go, well, we already talked about being in a dream in a derma before, but when you go to sleep at night and you dream, you just get immersed into that dream. But the people in the dream know there's a person dreaming. You know you're dreaming sometimes, but you can't really think about that person because you're in the dream. You're immersed in it. You can't really speak about it because you're just part of it. But that dream contains all of you because it's all your thoughts, your imagination, your desires in this dream. And that's what
Yeah.
we're kind of in here. So
Okay.
we're being dreamt and thought of by the creator, but it's very difficult and challenging to talk about what all that is being in the midst of the dream.
Okay, I dig it. So that is still part of purpose too, as a dream, and how us are still connected with the creator and everything. And I know right now you are in the midst of creating a few things. Um, and I am as well. One of the things that I am involved in is a group called Alhambra, and we are building part of my dream. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but we will put a link on there so you can look at it. It's building a community where people have the ability to live without the idea or the fear or even a sense of lack of food, where food is growing everywhere on the streets, in the yards, where people have a real sense of community, where we can get that idea of community back, where neighbors are helping neighbors and building together, almost like what the Amish people are doing, but not like the Amish people. There's going to be electricity and stuff like and things like that. However, the sense of community and family will be there for everybody. So that is one of the things that I am dealing with creating, and part of my purpose here on this earth, this realm, just so everybody can be together. And it's going in love, so there will be some confrontation somewhere possibly. But
Yeah.
it's all about love, and it's for
Yeah,
everybody. It's
for
for
sure,
everybody.
man.
What you got going on?
Man, that's great,
Oh,
man. I
and
love how you
and after that, take us out
yeah.
too.
Okay, yeah. I love how you know, going in with love and just building a community that's great that, serves people who need it. That's awesome, man. My path, bro, I'm just looking to come to a city near you. My goal is to continue to spread love through knowledge of self, whatever that may be, helping people realize the beauty and the gift that they have in their own body. So through physical health, mental health, spiritual health, just helping people start firing on all cylinders in that way. I feel like that is my purpose here. As you know, I've been in the fitness industry for a while and looking to expand and come to a city near you. Talking with the plan is to talk with small corporations, small agencies about different practices that people can employ to help their physical, mental, spiritual health. So I'd love to come to a city near you. So look me up. It'll be on the webpage here if you want to go deeper into those topics. Let's do it. So it's been another A to Z. Today we wrapped up. We talked about physical, mental trauma and how that can be devastating, as well as get into your purpose and what it means to live that out unhindered and fully. So thanks for joining A to Z. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m. live. So be here. See you then.